Moo and good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Pink Tron. I am Brent Robinson, and I'm joined today by John Keenan. John, what are you drinking?
All right, got to commit to the bit. I have got Ohm Superfood Blend chocolate milk supplement, but my favorite thing about it is got a little uh, code on the back that is in the shape of a mushroom with
Mushroom barcode.
mushroom barcode, and it does lead me to read the caution: take as directed, which no one's directed me, but if you have medical condition, are on medication, are pregnant or nursing, seek out the advice, the direction of a qualified medical personnel before using. Like, didn't do that either, but it's not
Are you
bad.
pregnant?
I'm not pregnant or nursing yet. So I think that's pretty safe, but nobody did direct me. It's okay. It tastes like cocoa. It kind of hides that
Nice.
mushroom, whatever it is.
All right, we've also got Steph at Jed. Steph, what are you drinking?
I'm back on the Fanta Lemon after.
Oh, did you do what? Do you have race one or ladder?
I had a ladder race.
Ladder. Nice. All right, we also have Nathan Tracton. Nate, what are you drinking?
I am drinking a nice herbal tea, eucalyptus and mint.
That sounds lovely. And we
Great.
have Craig Martin. Craig, what are you drinking?
So I've got, my old standby Moosehead lager, but that's almost done. But I got a drama-free IPA from Happy Brewing. So that's gonna open here in a minute.
Drama free. I don't know if that's going to
We
apply to
could
this
all
week.
use that. Yeah, we could all use that.
And we've got Sean Fogenberg. Sean, what are you drinking?
I've got a couple of things. I need a drink for reasons we won't get into. Um, there's a Montucky cold snack lager, and I did some gardening over the weekend and put in a citrus tree in my backyard. It's a calamansi tree, also known as like Philippine lime. So I
Ooh,
made myself a gin and tonic with some calamansi juice. Pretty
wow.
delicious.
So you planted this thing this weekend and it already has fruit?
It had fruit on it when I bought it from the nursery.
Oh,
Wow.
It's like a bush-sized thing right now, but has a bunch of little fruits on it. So
I don't even think I'll be able to Google what a calamansi is to be able to look it up because I don't know how to spell it. Oh, it's like a tiny round lime. There you
yeah,
go. Oh, but yellow in the middle. Interesting. Cool. That sounds very
they
fun.
they taste like somewhere between an orange, a lemon, and a lime. Kind of mix them all up, and you know,
Very nice. And I am not boring. I have a Deca vodka soda with a squeeze of lime as well. There you go.
Mm.
So, yeah, for reasons, it was definitely not boring Friday afternoon. For yeah. You know what is actually kind of boring though is RGV as a route. That is our route for Herd Winter Racing this week.
Amen.
John, did you race it?
I did. I ended up getting in just in time. And it's yeah, it's pretty boring. I was able to keep up for a good 5 minutes and I thought, oh, this is not going to go well. And sure enough, they just kind of pushed and pushed. There was a Moby guy, forget what his name is. He was in the last couple of
Radar
weeks.
Mail.
Yeah,
Yes, he was there. I think he ended up winning it, although it looked like him. I looked at the results and I think there were 14 people within a couple seconds. So it
Including our
was,
yeah,
very own Matt DeFreitas. TJ
yeah.
Afringa
yeah.
got
Yeah, I was
second.
about to say Vidamel only just beat TJ in the sprint, 0.03 of a second.
Paul Evans also in the top 10. So yeah, some good herd uh, results there.
And what was the
Yeah,
time like? Must have been real fast.
33:44.
That's fast.
yeah,
That's
fast.
like a 49 kph average almost. Not quite
That's
that high.
silly.
It's gotta be close.
And I was
25
riding with the
kilometer.
other Evans, Stuart Evans,
Hmm.
rode
Yeah,
almost the whole race with him. So
44.4.
Oh, I thought it was closer to like I guess it's 35. Yeah, okay. It's not quite that fast. So that's still pretty fast.
45 is pretty fast.
Yep.
Pretty fast.
Yeah. Do we really need to talk much strategy for this? Hold on to the group as long as you can and then sprint at the end.
Yeah.
I mean, I think if you're just holding on, the discussion is how much do you sell out to stay on the aqueduct?
I'd say all the way.
Me too.
Yeah.
I have history where that is not the case because if you're already at your limit getting to the aqueduct and you sell out to try and stick, I know that when I blow up hard. And then the next groups that come through, I can't grab onto them. I can't grab onto, yeah. So sometimes what discretion is the better part of valor. If you are already at your limit when you get there. But I take the point if you're going to be on that group or like it's you or like you're with group one and you're there or you're not. It's do what you can to stay there.
I think it's fair to say it really does depend on how hard you had to work to get there and how over threshold you have to go. Like if you're even someone who may be at a lower category but are a big watt rider, like I'm like an 83 kilo guy these days, which is a big rider on Zwift. So like I'm not having to pedal as hard proportionately as someone who maybe is like even at an equal level B, but is like only like 50 kilos on those flats, right? They're gonna have to be pedaling awful hard to stick in that fast group. So yeah, if you're a mid to low C and you're especially a lightweight mid to low C, you're probably gonna get shelled and you might want to just find your group as fast as you can at the aqueduct. That's fair.
Or, I mean, it depends on the kind of like if I can stay to that point, like I recover fast from an above FTP effort. So, know yourself. But for me, it's definitely no matter what, absolutely sell out until you're not going to make it, and then take a couple minutes and recover because I can always put in enough of a sprint to catch a wheel. Basically.
Yeah. I guess the other trend to watch, something that's been coming up in a few of the races I've done this year, is how hard they go after the aqueduct or like after a split is something I've really been noticing. Like on Innsbruck Ring this time, like the front riders did not stop pedaling hard at the top of Leg Snapper. They like pressed it. I think they pressed it the whole next lap, frankly, because like they put, we formed a group up of like 4 or 5, but I think they put 30 seconds into us from like the lap better to the next Leg Snapper. Like they smoked us in that front group. So, you're really, to Sean's point, if you're right close to barely hanging on the aqueduct, you might be getting shelled out before you get to like the intestines because the front guys don't stop anymore.
Yeah, is that the new meta? Like,
well, so with where if you're in the draft, you can't super tuck anymore. It's a spot to now you can actually drop somebody on a descent. It basically couldn't be done in Zwift before.
Yeah, it's so.
Yeah,
There's a few interesting things.
Yeah, it was really hard because I was watching a bit of the stream when they hit the aqueduct match stream and was surprised, for instance, that Terry Rigby got shelled on the aqueduct or just behind it.
Today in race 1?
Yeah. No offense to John, but I was not expecting him to finish 4 spots behind Terry in this race.
Right? Like there were there's like
He's
1s and
sick.
2s and 3s in there in that front group. It's a lot of really strong riders.
The flat races always mess things up like that. Because like I've been a OKB and beaten A+ guys in these races, right?
Because you can tuck into the draft and hang on.
And then it's just sprint.
It's a sprint power.
Yeah.
So I'm in a bunch of group chats with Terry because we race a bunch because he's a B, sometimes A, whatever and stuff. And he said he's got like some trainer measurement issues and he was not using his power pedals today. He was using his trainer to measure his power.
Oh,
So he said it was
Oops.
tough.
so yeah, we're not sure exactly on Terry.
Yeah. So he was using a device that might have not done him any favors today.
Mm.
Good bike choices. Is your fastest arrow thing you got? I don't think
Yeah.
there's any doubt about that.
There is absolutely no concession to weight on this.
I do a bike swap for the aqueduct.
There were a lot of people on Tron, or at least their avatars were on Tron in the pen. I didn't.
I mean, Tron's fine.
Yeah.
Like there's not a big difference between Tron and
And an
the
arrow.
fastest
Yeah.
bikes with the disc wheel.
Yeah, whenever I see someone on Tron in a race that's like a full arrow like that, my assumption is either they just like it, they just got it. It is their fastest arrow bike because if you're just doing a lot of climbing, you can get it faster than you can
Yeah.
get like a Venge with a disc, like the
Oh,
fast
easily.
discs.
Yeah.
Or yeah, those are
Or you're
probably three.
Steve and you never change off of it.
Never change. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's why I sort of just like it.
There's a lot of people like that.
Yep. Good. All right. Moving on to the week in herd racing. Herd beginner racing, Nate.
Yeah, it's going to be Two Bridges Loop. The 2 laps for the D's and E's. A, B's, and C's will be doing 3 laps.
And we're still in the
It's our
same
standard.
HRS as last.
Yes, we're still using the same ZRS scoring method. So Penny will have 0 to 100, and then 100 to, I believe it's 170 or 180 for Pin D. Both of those will be doing 2 laps.
Nice. Yeah, for HVR, Two Bridges Loop is a little more, I guess it's rolly. Is that what we call that?
I call it
Yeah.
undulating, but yeah.
Yeah.
Rolling.
Be
Rolling.
ready for a little more action than maybe TikTok or fan flats. Those kind of ones.
There's only one bad part. That's the climb up to the statues, and that's the perfect place to do a breakaway unless you have good legs and endurance, like Craig said.
Yeah, but that's good. I mean, that's good for beginners to practice having those like hard
Yeah.
efforts and then staying in the group and all and regrouping and all the rest. That's all part of learning. Very good. Climbers Gambit, Steph.
Yeah, for week 2 of our all corners of Watopia, we're hitting the infamous hilly KOM, basically 3K route, 1K lead in, 900 meter full out effort, and 1K till the finish. So ideal for combining it on a Saturday with HWR as a warm up, or
Fair
I think
enough.
we all know. I think we all know. We have ridden hilly KOM so many times, so I think we all know how to approach it. But yeah,
No warm up. That's
yeah,
Yeah, be
yeah.
warmed up. Be warmed
yeah,
up
get
before
your-
you get to the pen in this one. Yeah.
yeah.
yeah, get your warm
Even
up.
Craig
in.
is saying that.
Yeah.
Yeah, 1K is a bit. The 4K last week for hilly KOM was, if you do it so, was quite good because with the hills you could take 8 to 10 minutes to warm up. But yeah, this get your warm up in the pens or with a pace partner.
Very good. And I think, I mean, just hilly KOM is, I would say Tron or lighter. Tron would be
Hmm.
like it's pretty
For
shallow,
me-
but like
For me, I was thinking Pinarello, but for me, Zwift Bike was suggesting the Atos with alpinist wheels, so was going full climber.
Yeah.
it's
Yeah, I can see like it is steep in a bunch of spots. Like it's over 5% for big chunks of it.
Mhm.
There's a couple flat bits. It flattens out a little bit towards the end, but
That first
Still not
turn,
going fast.
that first turn, right after you go over the bridge, that's where it's going to kick you. That's why I can see
Yeah.
yeah, but
alpinist on that.
I mean so that's where you take it from being a 2.5 or 3 minute or 2 minute effort, whatever it is for you, and you make it a 10-second longer effort and sprint into it, because that makes such a difference in time. Having the momentum into that.
Very good. All right. The herd of mountain goats remains ever a mystery. I don't think it's been updated since last week. I see
Nope.
Octobon, but that's what it was last weekend.
Yeah.
Okay. Sometimes I think Matt just listens to this just to mess with us and changes it as soon as he sees it posted. But anyway. He never seems to post anything about us, so I don't know. Maybe he just doesn't listen. Also a possibility. The Stampede is 2 laps of Glasgow reverse. Adds up to about, I get it, 7.1 kilometers.
Interesting.
Yeah, I was about to say, pacing wise, it's all over the place.
It's very rolly, right? Like the reverse direction feels to me even rollier than the other direction for whatever reason. I don't know.
I think less of it, yeah, because the forward direction, a big chunk of the climbing is the Clyde kicker.
Yep.
And it's not quite the same going the other way. It's broken up more.
Yeah, there's like 2 big lumps, right? There's the one that comes up from the church, sort of, and then you do the rolly bit, and then you kind of do up to the Clyde kicker from there.
Yep.
And then you descend back down and go through. So, yeah, I think the challenge is mostly just to like stay on the power. Like you're gonna have to go a little harder on those steeper bits, but it's really gonna be to like stay on the power through the rolls and the descents to keep up momentum.
But only 7K, so it'll be
a sprint.
Pretty fast. Yeah.
Yep.
11, 12 minutes for most people.
But channel that Chris Nichols and pump it.
Exactly. Pump it indeed. I think still definitely a TT. I would just put your fastest TT, whatever. Maybe you want to stay away from the Cadex. It is a big boy.
Yeah.
But
it is net flat.
It is net flat.
It is net flat.
All right. And then Bullseye, Craig.
So Bullseye, we have 6 laps of Volcano circuit counterclockwise, and on this circuit the lead-in doesn't count because we can't make it count. Now I did want to mention something about Bullseye just because I can. We adjusted the ZRS for this. So oh shoot. Give me a second. I thought I had it out. I thought I had it, but I don't. Sorry, give me 1 second.
Just because I can, I'm going to make you wait.
I am. Okay, so pen A is 600 to 1,000. Pen B is 450 to 600.
Okay.
Pen C is 330 to 450. Pen D is 160 to 330. And E is 0 to 160. A lot of it's not that much different, but I just wanted to have the limits a little bit different so the guys who are right on the boundary are not
moving around.
Yep.
Yeah, I get pushed up.
Yeah.
I like that just generally, like, even if it's every week, you just move around where those boundaries are and
So I was going to do it at once. I was going to move them every month is kind of my plan. And yeah, I'm going to publicize that and see if anybody else joins in as far as organizers, because I think that'll do some good things as far as getting rid of the bunching that we're going to see at the category limits.
I do also think that HWR for herd riders, at least, and like, I mean, it is Is a well-attended race is going to do a lot for that.
So watching what's happening with the ZRS scores in HWR right now, I don't think it deals with it well.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Is it because you're putting too many people of too wide a range in the same race, and I mean, you
So
took a look at so they publicized a couple weeks ago the information about the algorithm that they're using, and I remember you went and looked at the
I did
library
look it
and
up. So they didn't give enough information because there's multiple options for algorithm in that the
in the
name is
library.
yeah, in that library. Um but I mean those are the goal of those is basically for, you know, arcade type games, whether they're shooters or something like Rocket League or whatever, um, to say, okay, this player or this group of players against these players or these groups of players will predict this, and we want to predict as close to a tie as possible for a really good match. And the idea is to get to a pretty good prediction as fast as possible. But it's highly configurable, and they've said they've customized it. So it feels like the customization they've done, they're assuming that what they want to do is anybody that's winning a, a category moves up, and anybody that's losing a category moves down. And not really getting that seems like their prime goal, looking at the behavior that's coming out of ZRS. So
I actually
I'm
think
not
that's
sure.
100% what ZRS should do. If you finish on the podium, like in a well-attended race in your category, after about 2 or 3, you should probably be moving up.
100%. But what seems to be happening is it's okay, you're in this category. So if your category is 0 to 1,000, if you're in this category and you're winning, you're
Oh,
moving up. If you're losing, you're going down. So yeah, true skill. Yes. Or sorry, actually it's not true skill, it's open skill, Sean.
The open skills, yeah.
Yeah, so it's similar to true skill but open source and more configurable, and they claim that it converges faster.
but I mean, I finished 20th and I got like a 20-point bump,
How many riders were there though?
like 100.
Exactly. You were in
Boom.
the top.
Yeah, that's what I think you're saying is like a
Yeah.
win is like relative and it's quite like over half is like a win.
Mhm.
Yeah.
No,
I
I'm not sure the strength of field is given enough, and I'm not sure that strength of strength of the riders around me that I beat or lost to is taken into account well enough.
I think that might
Now,
be right. I think that might be right.
Yeah.
Craig, to support you on that a little bit, I've looked at the HBR stuff, and
Yeah.
yeah, on the lower end, it definitely strength of field does not it's not really looked at very hard. Because once you're in
Yeah.
the lower end, if you're flat with your watts or watts per kilo, you're not moving up very far, very fast, no matter how you do, podium or not.
Yeah, it seems like it's very dependent on assuming that the seed score is basically perfect or all but perfect, and then you're only moving a little bit from that. Because I
Yes.
don't think you can move a full, like, if you look at how far you can move, it's far less than a full category in how far you can move from your seed score downwards.
Yeah.
And then it
Oh.
takes a long time to move a full category upwards.
Yeah,
Is
because I
there,
was
I'm
in
trying to
the
remember.
20th percentile in the HWR race, and I still went up 2 points. I mean, 2 points isn't
Yeah.
much to talk about, but
But
I
it's
was
still-
definitely in the bottom 20th percentile, and it's still like, well, you did. Maybe that was 30-second, 10-minute.
And is there a seed skill ceiling? I'm trying to remember that you can only go so far above your seed score. I
There
don't think
isn't.
so.
No, there's not.
Yeah.
But they're
Yeah.
just in the speed of how fast you can go up. It's kind of limiting that way.
That's funny because
Which
my experiences just felt so different than that. Mine
I
feels like I'm in a
actually,
race with like three guys and I moved up like 30 points. It's like I beat three guys. I don't know if they were trying.
Right.
Well, and
yeah,
that's the other thing is small races because they've instituted a podium bonus. The small races have a bigger impact than big races, regardless of which is probably the opposite of what you want in some
yeah.
ways.
They're like the velo score doesn't score it if you have less than a certain, they have a certain number that like, oh, it's too small, we're not going to move you.
I would 100% say at this point velo is better.
Yeah.
Is it's definitely better as far as a taking the people that went into the race, the results of the race, and firing out how people did. Yeah, it's better as a rating system. That way, there's generally the problem with ELO is that it's slow, and usually, in racing, compared to, you sit down and play Rocket League or Fortnite and you play 17 games in a row. We don't do 17 races in a row. So ELO is going to tend to drift slowly.
The iteration rate is too slow. Yeah.
Yeah. Because once you do a bunch of races, generally, the more races you've done, in ELO, your rating deviation goes down and your move per match is less.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So now Velo seems to have accelerated things a little bit and doesn't go to as high a rating confidence, but it's that's the problem with Velo for bike racing, or for ELO for bike racing. This is supposed to be really fast, which if they get all the configuration right, open skill should work pretty well for this. I don't think they're there yet, but it's complex.
I can't remember. I wasn't on last week. Did you guys actually talk about the additional little announcements they've made about the changes to the ZRS model that they're going to be making? So they're going to be removing 30-second power from the seed formula, which is big. I think that was the thing that is really driving a lot of what people feel like is miscategorization. So like I think there's a lot of, so if you just race a lot, you're never getting a max 30-second power effort in there. And then, people like us who might race like a Climber's Gambit on 23rd Street,
yeah,
or on
Libby or something, yeah,
Libby or Innsbruck or wherever, and you actually get a like pretty close to max effort in there, you end up way overseeded, because
well, at least compared to some people, or are they really underseeded because they don't have good,
and
they don't have good data.
They said, taking some community advice, we analyzed mass start events to reduce bias from pack or sprint finishes and found that while 30 seconds is still a solid metric, we can do a better job by seeding based on alternative data points. So they actually looked at like, okay, well, if we just do mass start things, which is really what they're interested in terms of like setting a ranking, like that 30-second isn't that predictive.
No. And this is that whole survivorship bias where whatever your existing ranking system or your existing categorization system is based on, whether it's 95% of 20 minutes or with CE it's both VMAP and
ZFTP.
ZFTP or ZMAP and ZFTP. So whatever your ranking system is, the people that have really good something else are going to do really well. Whatever, if the people are really good at something that isn't part of the ranking system, those are the people that are going to do really well. So that's where every time somebody does an analysis like, oh, this parameter we're not using, this is the best predictor of race results. I'm like, yeah, it is. If you're
because you're not getting ranked on it.
You're discounting the one that you're using currently because you're looking at things that are already sorted by that. So I think that's the trap that they've fallen into 2 or 3 times in a row now. And I think initially Tim fell into that for Velo as well, with the compound score being, oh, this is a great predictor. Yeah. I'm like, yeah, it's a great predictor if you're already categorized on FTP.
Yep.
So yeah, there's it's an easy bias to fall into. And I think it's going to take a bit more time for them to come to the right configuration for OpenSkill. But I think the OpenSkill library there's enough in there that I think they're on the right track.
Yeah, I mean, I think that either OpenSkill or Velo, like just getting a ranking system implemented and trying to get it optimized for the specific use case and actually using it and basing your categorization off of it is the way to go. And so I'm glad that they're still working on it and adjusting. You know, they're going to remove that from the seed score. They're introducing more sandbagging protections. They're going to be turning decay off, which is maybe something that's important.
Yeah, because I mean, I get decay when somebody plays Fortnite all the time and doesn't play for 3 months, but when somebody doesn't Zwift for 3 months, but they're
still riding
outside doing twice as much mileage, like that, decay isn't justified. Of course, if somebody's injured and off the bike for 3 months.
So this is actually something that I think, and who knows whether this is something that they are implementing, so that the way that OpenSkill works is they have an estimate of your actual skill and also an uncertainty that is associated with it. And the higher your uncertainty, the easier it is for your skill to move.
Yeah.
And I think that it would be probably really useful for them to be able to, if you haven't raced in a while, your uncertainty goes up.
100%. And that's really all that should happen. Don't decay, just up your uncertainty. So, you come back after 3 months of being off because you broke your leg. And you have to do one B race, but then you'll get jumped down to C first off because your rating deviation your uncertainty is super high. I use rating deviation from ELO, but the same idea.
And same thing if you've just been outside riding a ton and you're now super fit and you come back and you go
boom, all of a sudden you go from T to B in one race. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's the ideal. It's hard.
Yeah.
I'm willing to give them credit. This is hard. There isn't really anything else like Zwift in video gaming.
Yeah.
Well, I think the key difference of online bike racing to everything else to some extent is that your ability to enjoy the activity depends on the proximity of your fitness skill, mostly fitness more than skill, frankly, to the other people around you. Do you know what I mean? Like if I go play Fortnite and I get shot out of the first 10 minutes of the match and then I go down and I go to play in the next one and I'm, I can still whatever, I killed 3 more guys or whatever.
Yeah.
But when I bike race and I get shot out the back because I'm racing a bunch of pros,
it's no fun.
It's no fun anymore. I'm not achieving the objective, which, in addition to racing and having fun, you're also trying to get some fitness. But if you just get dropped because you're at your, you're a 40K race at your 20-minute max right out of the pen, It's like, well, now I've done 20 minutes and I'm dropped.
And you're not even
40
getting
more minutes of racing left.
You're not even getting the workout benefit because you're demotivated to actually like turn it into a workout because you're all alone. Yeah.
Yeah. So
It's
that's
kind of
the
it's the opposite of what we're looking for in races, where we want that motivation to dig extra deep, which definitely works for me. And yeah, when you get dropped super early and there's nobody around you, it's kind of the opposite. We're like, oh crap. For a lot of people anyway. Some people absolutely can just turn that into a TT. But it depends on your mindset. And
Yeah, it seems like if you don't go into it with a mindset of like, oh, this is going to be a workout. I know it's going to be hard, but I'm going to grit my teeth and bear it. But yeah, but if you get shot out the back, like I can't do that. I can't say, oh, I'll just turn it into a workout. I end up doing a zone 2 ride for however long in the race is.
Yeah.
But that's what most people end up doing. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was basically my ladder race today. I got shut out, didn't have any legs after 5 minutes, and strolled around at 2 watts per kilo for the next 35 minutes in zone 2.
Usually if I'm dropped, it's because I'm shelled.
Yeah.
Right.
All right, and that's your description of the bullseye this week.
Yeah, sorry about that, guys.
No, that's all good. I think that's a good segue into our news segment. Sean, what else we got for news on Zwift this week?
I think the biggest thing that got announced this week is we can call it the Zwift Academy alternative that they're running in the fall. They're calling it Zwift Camp Baseline. So it is, and this kind of goes back to the way that they ran Zwift Academy in the first, I think like the first year or two that they did it, where, you actually got a subscription to, it wasn't Training Peaks, it was like Training Day, or it was one of those like
Trainer's Road.
No,
what was it called?
I forget.
It's gone now.
Yeah. Today's plan. Yeah. So I believe it's shut down now. So the point being that was really based really strongly around what type of rider are you? What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? What can you improve? And so this new, they call it the assessment-oriented training program. There's 6 stages, 3 workouts, 3 tests, and you end up getting a report assessing your cycling strengths and limiters with advice on your next steps. So there's a sprinting workout and a sprint test, a attacking workout and an attacking test, and an endurance workout and an endurance test. The endurance test being just ride the grade. But
only once? That's not barely an endurance test.
So I think it is essentially you are getting a sprint. You're getting a sprint test, a VO2 test, and an FTP test.
Yeah.
Although for a lot of people, the grade is not long enough to get a true sense of their FTP. But relative to those other 2 things, then you do get a good sense of like, okay, what is my strength? What is my weakness? And apparently, upon completion of all 6 stages, you get a rider strength report email from Zwift sharing your strength as well as your limiter. So yeah, kind of cool that they're, turning it from, I think the Zwift Academy really got, and rightly so, it became more about actually finding the elite riders.
Yep.
And then everyone else is just like kind of participating. But initially, the first year or 2, it really was everyone who wrote it got something out of it for themselves. So this, I think, is the new alternative for that.
And the format is like a group workout where you're all banded, it looks like.
It looks like.
Okay.
I think so.
I do
That's what Zwift Academy started as, for sure.
Yeah.
Right on to Sean's theme here.
I do like and this is if you are a super bike nerd, if you are, and that Brent is gonna love this. So you do one stage, you get the baseline kit. You do 3 stages, you get the worst looking sunglasses ever. The Oakley Katos, the ones that are like the full thing that like wrap right around your nose and there's like a little nose bit that sticks out.
That's just the Jasper Philipson version.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Sweet.
Just look at these pictures. Those are hideous.
They're beautifully hideous.
Yeah.
Someone's going for them.
I guess I haven't changed my sunglasses in Zwift in a long time. I've changed up all my other stuff. I actually quite like the Tour of Watopia hat. I've quite enjoyed wearing that one recently. This is fun. I gotta say, I did not do any Zwift Academy this year. 0. I've usually been okay, but with all the other stuff going on, it was like, I don't have time for this. So.
Yeah, I've kind of been over it since I did it once, I think. And then I think the second year I tried to do it was the year that whatever it was doing to whatever it was sending to the trainer on the intervals, it just boom, my trainer just lost all resistance on the sprint interval. And I was like, you know what? Never mind. This isn't worth it.
Yeah, I did it in 2019, and that's the only time I did it. Because it really did like shift away. Like
yeah.
The 2019 one, it was like there was a 1-minute test, a 5-minute test, and a 20-second test.
Okay, I kind of like these red Oakley Katos. They're kind of nice. I know this isn't very good for podcasting, but you should, if you're at home, go Google Oakley Kato and look for the red ones. They're pretty baller.
You love them.
They clash with Patrick Mahomes' suit, though. And they probably won't make me sprint like Cav. If anything could. Well, that's cool. All right.
So that's, I think, the biggest piece of news that's been announced. I think another thing that just got announced like yesterday and is, I think, interesting more than anything else is that there's now going to be Meet Space Zwift sponsored events. So they're doing a Mallorca like event, a 4-day event in Mallorca in April, where I'm assuming it's just going to be Eric Min riding with folks. But who knows? They've got a lot of partnerships and yeah, will
based
be
on
very
James's history. I'm with Meet Space meetups from Zwift. I'm fairly certain he won't be riding. He might go, but he won't ride.
Yeah, I mean, that would make
Poor
sense.
guy.
But that is, I mean, I have been meaning to, if it was possible, make a Mallorca trip at some point. I doubt this is it, but I'm at least gonna look at it when it becomes like available to sign up for.
I gotta think a Zwift Meet Space meetup might be like actually dangerous.
Yeah.
You're talking about like
yeah,
hundreds of
I'm
people
with you,
who know
Brent.
how to ride really hard but not steer.
A
Exactly.
GoPro
It's gonna be
montage
interesting.
would be, yeah.
A lot of turns there.
I feel like I would use my BMX skills.
I'm just imagining
You'd
chaos,
be jumping over people that are on the road in front of you.
Well, you know, I'm used to leaning on people shoulder to shoulder, right?
Oh, God.
just imagining like some sort of like hilly switchback thing, and there's just like guys riding up and like pedaling like crazy, but like just bouncing into everybody else doing the same thing. Boink, boink, boink.
I mean, I mean this as no offense, but Jay Vine is one of the most crash prone riders in the pro peloton.
Well, I mean, Zwift isn't to blame here, but I mean, I love him, but Mike Woods too.
Starting to ride when you're 30 is not.
Well, it wasn't 30, but yeah,
Yeah.
Being an elite runner first doesn't mean that you're an elite bike handler.
Yeah.
In fact, you've got a lot of catching up to do, and you might never completely catch up. Which, I mean, yeah.
Also, for those who don't know, Jay Vine was a guy who I think he like won like the first
He
Swift
won
Academy
Zwift
or something
Academy,
like that.
Yeah.
and is now on Team UAE and like super strong rider. Like one of the
he's won stages. Like,
well,
he
yeah.
is
So
the most successful, I think, Zwift Academy winner by
one
I think
of
it's
the
by a long shot.
few like strong climbers who can also win a TT.
Yeah.
Ooh.
But has a little trouble keeping the rubber side down.
Yep. Has ridden into his own team car a couple of times.
Ouch.
I don't mean to laugh. I'm not a pro cyclist. I probably do the same thing.
Oh,
But, like, listen, I'm a terrible bike handler. Like,
We would all crash
triathlon,
as
like,
soon
good
as we
Lord.
got around that many riders.
Well, the
I'm
team
a-
cars always freak me out. Like they're just like they're screaming through, and yeah.
I'm an okay bike handler on the BMX track. I have zero skills riding in a road pack, and I just choose not to do it because I don't have that skill set.
Why are we Zwift? All right. I think
The-
that around the
the-
horn.
I think the last piece of little news is they were doing all of the like mini challenges. There's another one called the Racer's Edge that has 4 new workouts, and one of those workouts is one that I'm probably going to use fairly regularly because there's now actually a warm-up workout. So
Oh, that's a good thing.
it's the ultimate warm-up, and it's just like it's basically the Team Sky warm-up. It's designed by Sir Bradley Wiggins, blah blah blah. But like it's just a quick ramp up, little break, and then a like short like 1 minute at VO2. Really wake your legs up and get ready for a race.
So
weren't there already? I think there were already a couple of these race warm-up workouts in the workout library anyways, because I
That's
know
fair.
Ineos had one and that's one. So
I think there's a
I-
solid dozen of them actually, but
I mean, I have always had my own little custom workout that I built before there were any of these, so yeah, I don't know.
so just before we move on to anything else, I went to Zwift.com to try and find this thing that Sean just mentioned, and somehow I ended up on Zwift.com in German. And it's the internet is a wonderful thing, and it always seems even weirder with Zwift.
Well, welcome to Belgium. I'm from the Dutch side, and for whatever reason, if you go on lots of websites, you end up on the French version of that website instead of the Dutch version because it assumes Belgium is just French.
So I end up on the French versions of websites all the time, but that's okay. I can read and write French pretty good. In theory, I'm bilingual in my job, but I'm not really. But yeah, it's German was a interesting one.
All right, our topic for Round the Horn.
Maybe a quick shout out for news from Ladder, because I'm big into Ladder. A couple of months ago, they announced that they were looking for interest for a women's only ladder ranking, and it's starting to get potentially getting started in the next couple of weeks because the websites and the discords are being updated, and Marjolein posted that in our herds captain chat that they are planning to do it in the next few weeks. Registrations are open, and she was checking with some her teams, but so far not many interests from her side. But yeah, it basically comes down to it will be like, I think I interpreted that like, for instance, we have the big world ranking, but each region has its own ranking. I think the women's ladder will be the same, and basically it's sort of a system that women's only teams can challenge mixed teams or women's only teams, but can only be challenged by other women's only teams. So I hope they find a couple of like how America started last year. Yeah, they have a decent side of teams, so the women can have their own league if that sparks interest for competitive racing amongst female only. I think it's a good thing, and it's nice to see that announcement that call out for women's only league a couple of months ago is now starting to result in getting something effectively happening. So yeah, wanted to quickly mention that as a positive side.
Good. Yeah, if you're a Zwift lady listening to this, and we hope you are, number one, you can always ask you want to come on the Pink Tron. but also get on a herd to be a herd ladies team. And if we don't have one, you should make one. We are big fans. All right, around the horn, our topic today is what is the craziest or dumbest or most important thing you either missed to go do Zwift racing, or time of day or place or whatever. Who wants to? Somebody miss like a wedding anniversary or something? Birth of their child.
Birth of a child. Yeah.
So
Tatum?
yeah, I think go ahead. Yeah, Tatum.
Who's going first? Craig? What's yours?
You know what? Honestly, I don't have much on this. I mean, I regularly get up at 5 to TTT with the Aussies, but yeah, I don't really have much on this.
So I think for me, it's less that I have missed any big events, and more that this has become my reason to not go too hard all the time. Like having a weekly plan about things that I want to get done on the bike, and specifically often weekend races, often means that okay, I'll go out and join people on a Friday night and have a couple of drinks or whatever. But I don't know. I've got friends who really want to go hard and go late, and I am like,
HWR's at 8:30, man.
yeah, I've got a race at noon. I want to do I want to do 3 hours on Sunday, and I want to not feel like shit for it. So sorry, I'm gonna skip the rest of this party. I'm gonna head home soon. I'm gonna go to bed at a normal person's time. And that doesn't seem that crazy, but for me, that is pretty crazy.
That's legit. I think I've already told all my stories on here. Omnium at 2 a.m.
I think the year you
Omnium
did
at 2 a.m. was bad.
Yeah, I think the Omnium at 2 a.m. to work around the lacrosse tournament was, I mean, that wins.
Yeah, that was a tough one. I think, have I ever told the story about doing the tour of Sefferlandria from my hotel room?
No.
Yeah, so I guess, I don't know. For those who aren't aware, there used to be a cycling training set of videos called the Sufferfest. And every year they host an event called the Tour of Sufferlandria. And they would post like a set of routes, which were the workouts, right? And the workouts all had fun names, like it seemed like a good idea at the time and half as easy, stuff like that. And so they'd like list like here's like these, I think it was like 15, 18 days in a row or whatever of like you do these workouts. Sometimes it was like 2 back to back, like Revolver plus the Dark Place, that kind of thing. And then you do it. Well, I was trying to get done the Tour of Sufferlandria, and it happened right during the time that my partner retreat was on for my law firm. It was at the Banff Springs Hotel. So I packed up my trainer and my bike in the back of my truck, went to the partners retreat, set up my bike in my hotel room, did the workout, showered up, and then went to like the Friday social event, got up the next morning, did like the next one, went all day. We, set budgets and who we're going to hire for associates and all that jazz. And then did like the next route. I think I did like the Sunday route because then we had like Sunday morning breakfast or whatever. Because you had like kind of a 36-hour window to each one. So yeah. And like the guy, the poor bellhop is like coming to my truck with the like the luggage cart. I'm like, here, just put this bike on it. It's like, you brought a bike to train in your hotel room? I'm like, I'm training for a triathlon. He's like, okay.
What's
Probably
wrong with you?
Probably not the weirdest thing he'd ever put in a luggage cart, but in any event.
Or maybe it was.
So actually, I just remembered that based on something you said, I remembered that I didn't have to miss a thing, but I did have to show up to my partner's birthday party. Happened the same day as the ZRL Finals playoff points race in 2022. And I woke up, did that race. I think I had taken like a few 100 milligrams of caffeine to really be on top of my game. And then we're like out at a bar with all of our friends, and I am like shaking and just like jittery, and like my legs are cramping, and it's like, happy birthday, honey.
Well, that's yeah. Oh, so all right. Someone else will go, and then I could talk some more about that. Anyone else? Steph, John, Nate, any of you guys done anything like that?
Not quite to that degree. Probably the worst one that I've done is doing the New Year's TTT. My sister-in-law, her now ex-husband, and kids were out here. They needed a ride up to the Denver airport, and it was a late flight, and just so happened it fit within the time for me to do the New Year's TTT, which is, of course, Alpe du Zwift. So here I am pounding that out, waiting for the team. Everybody gets up there, hop off the bike, hop in the shower, then have to hop into the car, get them up to the airport. That's about the worst thing I've done.
I don't know if I'd blame it on Zwift. I mean, I'm perfectly happy bagging out of social occasions. I mean, we had a 2-day all day work meeting, 2 days of all day meetings at work, and after the first one, they're like, "Oh, we're all going out to happy hour. Do you want to come?" And I just said, "No." Like, I've spent all day with you people, sitting in a chair. Like, why?
Did you go home and ride Zwift though?
I went home and rode Zwift. Yeah,
there it is.
Yeah,
There we go.
So
absolutely.
This was
I've 100% done that too.
My other. I last year didn't go home for the holidays, and it was kind of Zwift's fault. Like I had seen everybody a month before, and really wanted to do the festive 500.
Yeah.
And so I stayed at home, and I think I remember on Christmas Day got a phone call from my family as I'm riding one of my 4-hour days. I think, and was on the bike, talked to him for an hour while I was on the bike. But I think I did 28 hours from December 24th to 31st. So I did like the festive 872. I was pretty happy about that. But like skipping going home for the holidays just to be on your bike for 4 hours a day, I think is a little excessive.
Or not, but yeah.
So actually, you reminded me of a couple, Sean. So I do have a couple to bring up. Yeah, I went first, and I kind of forgot some things. So I've definitely done doubles of done HSRL in the morning, and then at noon gone to race a BMX race, which was just as successful as you might expect. I did race using my power pedals and a dumb trainer in my parents' basement when I was home visiting them. But one of the best was probably in 2020 when we were all, everything was remote, and I'm doing doing a co-ward for work, and while we were doing the co-ward, I was climbing Ventop for the first time.
You beat me in that race too.
Oh, that wasn't a race.
I remember we did that first Ventop in what was that? That was like
that was the Herd Club Championship, wasn't it?
HCC, yeah.
Oh no, the HCC. So that was when it was New Heights, and there was another guy. There was a big thing with New Heights and some other guy going at it at the front. We were far at the back from them.
Indeed.
This one isn't mine, but it was somebody that was on the Mentality team during that ZRL finals points race, where I feel like it's not even fair for me to complain that I took too much caffeine and then was cramping and having a problem at my partner's birthday, because we needed all of our riders. One of the riders lives in Australia, and it was, I guess, late fall, early winter for him, and he was doing a family camping vacation that weekend, but decided, you know what, I'm gonna figure out how to make this work. So it was Justin Curran, who woke up at 5 a.m. He may have even left the night before from his camping vacation with his family to drive to his in-laws' house. He had packed the trainer in the back of his car, drove to his in-laws' house, set the bike up, raced at 5 a.m., and then, packed up, drove back to the campsite.
I think I remember this because I think James and I broadcasted that race.
You did.
Yeah.
That might take the cake. That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Yeah. I think
Justin might win there, yeah.
Yeah, I haven't done anything really crazy. I remember one thing. It was all the way back when I first did the first not this summer, but summer last year, when I first completed the Hertz HSRL series, and I was in D, and it was the last race. So on the Facebook group, we decided, we're gonna have a race with as many as the top GC guys as we can, but most of them were America, so I think it was race 2. I decided to join, but it was like 1 a.m. So yeah, it went as good as you expected. Got dropped, I think, out of the pants and quit after a while, and just did the HSRL at at a more reasonable hour for me. But yeah, I think that was the craziest thing I ever did on Zwift. It's not even to exclude, to avoid anything. It was just having a bit of fun with some Swift friends, but time zones don't work that well.
The time zone thing is for real. Like it's like I wanted
Don't
to get
we
in for
know
race
it?
one today, but there was no way to get from the end of race one to my meeting. It started at 1 o'clock. Like it would have been 23 minutes to shower and not look like I was having a heart attack. Have you ever had that one? Do you ever like go to something after a race and you're like all like you maybe you cleaned up a little bit, but you've got that sort of death pall from whatever you've done. Like, are you okay? Like, are you
Oh,
having a heart attack right now? I've literally been asked that several times.
The answer is no, I'm not okay.
It's like, no, it's like, oh, I just did a hard bike workout. And they're like, you should maybe stop. Good, good. All right. I think that brings us to the end of the agenda. So we will say thank you to Steph Chen, thank you to John Keenan, thank you to Nathan Tracta, thank you to Craig Martin, thank you to Sean Fogenberg, thank you to everybody who is listening at home. Enjoy your herd races, everybody. Go fast on RGV. Moo and good night.